Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today we're going to take a look at Water Soei, the meme that is Water Soei right now because of how freaking many I pulled of him on the original Part 2 banner. But thankfully, to make up for that, he does have a skill fusion available, and it's pretty good on one team. So right now, it is everybody gets 25% defense for one turn, and buffs blue orb damage by 5% and up to 100 for the end of the fight permanently. But once you fuse it, it now becomes a defense buff and an attack nerf on the enemy, both of them for 2 turns. And since he's already in Orb Changer from orange to green, that works out pretty well on, you guessed it, the Vengeance team. A team that wants defense, a team that wants the enemy to have lower attack, well, most of the time, and a team that needs green orbs. So Soei is going to fit right in on that team. So we are going to fuse him here and now, and then we will take him into the hardest fight that we can, which is going to be the current Inferno 3 beatdown battle for the Visions of Coleus meta. So we're going to get this leveled up, and we're going to build a team, and I'll see you guys there. Alright, this is the team that I have built for Vengeance. We've got Protector Velzard with Benimaru attached to give magic and earth a little bit extra stats. Not that it really matters. We've got Raphael, the linchpin of the Vengeance team. We're using the skill point units to get us turn 1 points, even though we don't need it because we're not getting a full hand of orbs on turn 1. But we've got Soei, who's giving us the points. We've got Space Millum, who's giving us the points. Water Shion's underneath him for turn 2 protection gauge. Yom is here for his defense. We've got Trainee, who is also skill fused, so she's going to be our healer. And she's going to be able to cut down the damage that Hinata does on her ult and lower her pierce damage. So actually, both effects of Trainee's skill will come in handy because this Hinata does have Pierce, and we can lower that by a significant amount for a while. And we only take like 1 ult on this run if we go to turn 8 like normal. So we're going to take more ults than that because this team is not going to kill immediately. But we can certainly survive. And then we've got Isis for the other orb change and the green buff. And then she's got Lumi underneath her for more protection gauge on turn 2. So, I mean, if you don't have Trainee, you could bring Lumi, like win Lumi for more orb changing and still having a heal. It's just that you'll take a bit more damage on the ults than we would than if Trainee was here. But, I mean, we're going to have defense here. The physical resistance, I don't think matters because this Hinata is magic? No, she is physical. Okay, so they're matching it to actually just EX Hinata. So that's fine. So actually, yeah, that works out. Physical resistance, defense, guard, sealing the crit and pierce, healing us, lowering the pierce power, which I guess doesn't matter if we seal the pierce, so, never mind. Unless we go a turn without it. But lowering the ult damage is important. So this team should be able to do it. It's just that she doesn't have the highest attack stat, and she doesn't raise her attack. She raises her pierce damage and stuff like that right here by 20% every so often. And then on turn 8, if you don't kill her, she does start lowering our defense by 90%. And that could become kind of an issue. But as long as we keep her sealed, we shouldn't take that much. And to round it all off, the charm that I have on Velzard is the protection on greens. If we need to, we'll stop and we'll put the heal charm on if we're just being out damaged. But I don't think we will be. So let's get started. Never mind, I thought better. Since we're getting 4 blues, we can get protection gauge on turn 2 if we have just the big 3 up front. And thankfully, we have people that match the elements anyways. So, Soei's still back here with Shion. Raphael's now back here with the hero, so we have turn 3 protection gauge as well, and turn 2. So we're covered pretty much everywhere. So now we're going to start. Alright, so here we are. Since we have the big 3 now instead of the other form that I was using, we just need to send the 4 blue orbs and we can get Velzard active on turn 2, which will be pretty important. If you want to go for like pure RNG stuff, you could, try and reset until turn 2 gives you a pretty good hand so you can start applying Vengeance, maybe put some guard up, along with just like maybe 1 orb change. But here, it's better that we brought two orb changers for blues. That way we can have a full hand of greens. It's just that we don't have the extra gauge increase from Isis, but we will have the extra skill point gain from Velzard, which will also be pretty important because that means next turn we can use a lot of skills. Soei does kind of fall on his face a little bit because of one having type disadvantage in this stage, which is just kind of unfortunate. But also his orb change costing 30 points. We did talk about that already, but still, it is something that needs to be talked about because a team with you can use 4 25-point skills with a full 100 points is a lot more efficient than only having enough to use 3 skills and then maybe a super cheap 4th skill, like his defense skill, which is obviously very good, and it's the whole point we're doing this video, or Isis green buff. But at the same time, it's like, man, I really wish it cost 25 like all the other new protectors. Both him and Wind Lumi, I think, would be a lot better served if they just turned that down to 25 points just passively. Like, hey, we fixed a lot of the old characters to get them in line, and we turned all the 30 skill points to 25s for orb changes. That'd be cool. Because, yeah, he takes a bit of damage if we're not sealed. We don't have guard up. We don't have any defense right there. So him being up front on this fight is maybe not the best example of him being used properly, but he will, right here. We'll start applying some defense. We'll lower her attack, and we will get some usage out of him. So defense up, attack nerf, the resistance. So now we've sealed Hinata, and then we've also got some... what do we do here? We did some orb changing. So we could... we could do something here. We could, use Velzard, call it a day, or we just guard up and then kind of let the turn run, which looks like is what we're going to do. So we'll apply Vengeance. That way it's on Soei now as well in case he takes any hits. And the 4 blue or the 4 greens will get us max points, which is just really, really good on Velzard's part. But 1, 2, 3, 4 hits of 1 damage. Like, that's the power of the Vengeance team. Lowering attack, raising defense, guarding, and sealing all of her crit and pierce, which is probably the most important thing, especially when you get to the later stages of the fight, because this fight does take a while. And keeping her sealed towards the end is going to be really, really important for your survivability, because especially once she puts that big-time defense debuff on your units, she can hurt a lot with her stacking crit and pierce damage. So always make sure towards the end that she is sealed. It's probably more important than having the guard up, to be perfectly honest. So it is extra stacks of Vengeance with the guard, but we got to take less damage overall, and by keeping her sealed, we take the most minimal amount of damage. So Raphael does lower the physical power of Hinata, which is great because she's about to nuke. We used the alt resistance down skill and also lowered her pierce. So we're going to take Peanuts. Yeah, 1 damage there from her alt being lowered, high defense, seal the physical attack down, and then the alt damage cut from Trainee. So her also showing out here. We're going to orb change again, and then Isis should be set up in the back. Not quite yet. Never mind. We do have Velzard here that she can reduce everything again. So we're going to, I think, bring her in. And then we got to use Vengeance. We'll put it on her, which everyone else already has it as well, so that's good. But we're also going to bring Soei in. Ooh, okay. We're going to go with this then. So we're going to heal and then defense up to get him a little bit more topped off. And then we'll use Vengeance to reset everybody. Because we do need him to stay alive. The whole point is showing off how powerful his skill is here now, which we've used a couple times, and we are definitely noticing a distinct lack of damage. 624 right there, with the attack lower and the defense up. She could have done more because she was not sealed. So it's always a good thing to have Soei's defense up. It's good that it lasts for 2 turns. It'd be a lot better if it lasted for 3, but let's not be... Beggars can't be choosers, right? The fact that he even got a very useful skill fusion is better than what a lot of the other skill fusion units can say about themselves. So I am totally okay with that. But this is an exercise in patience. Vengeance does not kill very quickly, as you're seeing. Thankfully, Hinata doesn't have a healing effect, so it doesn't take an extra super long amount of time, but she does have almost 2 million HP, which is more than any other boss we've ever had, I believe. So it's going to take a while. 517 damage right there. She was not sealed. Now it's turn 8, and now she's going to put that defense debuff on. So I think I misplay here a little bit, because I leave Yom up front, and realistically what I should be doing is I should be taking Raphael and Yom out of here, since they're our primary vengeance people, but instead I take Trainee out, because she's the healer, and we leave Yom to his own devices, which, for people who don't have as good gear, who are attempting this, you put Raphael and Yom in the back. It's much less impactful if we lose Isis or Soei than it is if we lose Yom, especially if you lose Raphael. If you lose Raphael, your run is going to get significantly harder. So, keeping, Trainee, Soei, and Isis with the defense debuff, where 2 of them can pretty much always stay in the back, is a much better strategy. Also, I really wish our orb RNG was a little better, because we keep getting, 3 oranges, 3 blues, no greens whatsoever. So, getting points towards the end of this fight was actually pretty difficult. But we're doing a decent chunk of damage with Vengeance at 29 stacks, but because she has such a large pool of health, we just have to keep going. So there's the defense nerf now on all 3 of our units. We're going to bring Trainee in, and then we're going to Pierce resist now, and the ult resist, because it lasts for 3 turns. We're planning in advance for her ult. And it's a cheap skill, and we're going to make it all back. Well, we're not going to make all of it back, but we'll make some of it back here, because we are not getting any freaking green orbs. And a counter. Counters are good for this team. A super counter. Interesting. We took 1 damage there. That's good. A bunch of 1s, because she is sealed. 170k on the Vengeance. Finally get a decent hand right here, so we can finally make up for it. So orb change, and that leaves us with just 9 points, which even if Soei was 5 points cheaper, we wouldn't have been able to do much. So not a big deal right here. But we did leave Soei up front, and she is no longer sealed. So that could pose a problem, and like this, it doesn't actually pose a problem, because we have that ult damage resistance cut. If she had hit Soei, things may have looked a little bit different. But because she would have crit him, she would have pierced him, she had type advantage. Even with the ult damage cut, it still would have hurt quite a bit. Thankfully, Trainee is a very tanky girl, and type neutral, so I'm going to heal a little bit of that back. Everyone's nice and topped up now. We're going to, again, put the defense up and the attack nerf, reapply Vengeance, and then we're just going to send this, because there's no point in holding any of it. Another Vengeance, actually. Here we go. And then we're going to send the orange. I probably should have sent something else, but oh well. Probably should have sent the blue, now that I think about it. Then we could have had at least 3 greens guaranteed next turn. It is what it is. Alright. Synergy, natural synergy, not that, okay, so yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. So, yeah, look, that's a lot of damage Soei took right there. He was at full HP, right? Because we had just healed back up with Trainee, so keeping her sealed towards the end of the fight when she has like 80% crit and pierce power is very, very important. So here, now we've sealed her for the next 2 turns, and we're going to win, because we do now a lot of Vengeance damage. That 41 stacks. 212 at 45. So she's only going to survive like 2 more hits of that, which is great. But Soei, for having type disadvantage, it is a very useful unit on this team. And especially if the boss that we take this team on ends up not being wind next time, he will then be even more effective, because then I'll have a lot more trust in his ability to tank in the future. So overall, I think this is a pretty good showcase. Maybe we didn't use him as much as you thought I would. He is not a damaging unit. He is very defensive and orb changing. That's his whole role. So I felt no need to really try and ult with him and make a big deal out of it. He's here to support the Vengeance and keep us alive. And he definitely did that, while also being a competent orb changer to greens. So that's why I think his skill fusion is very, very good. 307,000 damage on the Vengeance right there. So overall, I'd give his skill fusion a solid A-. Not an A or an A+, because if for that to be even higher, he would have to be useful on multiple teams, with a lot more general viability. You can use him for his trait as a support unit. You can use him for an orb change here and there, but he's a defensive unit meant to be used on a defensive meta, and so far there's only one good defensive meta, and it is this team. So if you don't have the Vengeance team, Soei's value is cut dramatically. So A-. He's really, really good on this team. He's okay everywhere else. To okay to mid everywhere else. So maybe that puts him in like the B+ range, maybe. I don't know, you can grade it how you want. It's just me talking. But I think he got a very good skill fusion for the team that he's now meant to be run on. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. That's it for me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.